When you grow a big platform very quickly, there's a lot of other sort of, I guess, psychological things to contend with. One of them is imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
One of them is the claim, which will be leveled at you, I'm sure, that you got lucky. How do you deal and contend with all of these thoughts?
I'd say lucky's pretty hard work, isn't it? You probably know that. Yeah. And, you know, there's an element of that. I think, you know, there was probably a timing thing for me in that, you know, this huge pandemic started and lots of people were at home tapping into new social media platforms they hadn't before. I think it's been uncomfortable all the way along. I think
Why?
Because it's been new and it's very public, and that's way out of my comfort zone. You know, I'd been in such a kind of small bubble. I live in a small town. I had a small, you know, one-man band private practice. It was just me. And the whole reason for that was so that I could balance it around my children and be the mum I want to be. It was all very kind of organic. And suddenly this thing started to happen and become a bit of a roller coaster.
How does it feel to know that the more successful you become at what you do, the more public you're going to become, to the point where you might be in the Daily Mail every week?
And do you know what? I've had quite a few moments. Do you know, I've not even really told anyone this, but I've had quite a few moments along the way where I've really, really questioned, do I even want this? And I kind of told myself that as soon as all that feedback, nice feedback from genuine people who were saying, thank you so much, you know, what's next? I was just kind of waiting for that to stop so that I could stop because it's really not been easy. You know, I've got 3 small children and it's really, really important to me to be present for them. So I wanted to keep it as balanced as I could, which has been nearly impossible. So I was getting up at like 5 a.m. to make videos for TikTok in the dark before my kids got up and stuff like that. And it's not been, you know, it's not been an easy ride. And so it's kind of, you know, it's been hard work. And I think I kept going because I felt like it was temporary. I felt like at some point everyone's just going to think, yeah, this is boring now, and we'll stop. And we would have helped a few people, and that would be great. I mean, maybe you could advise me on that.
Well,
because
no, I'm
you
asking
live
you
that,
because
right?
I'm literally going through the same thing, which is this realization that I've had more recently, especially with the success of the podcast and joining Dragon's Den, that and then like there was a really critical piece written about me the other day, and it's like totally baseless, but it basically implies that my last company was like Guantanamo Bay or something. And I was thinking, this is going to only continue to get more and more and more, and I'm going to have to contend with more and more noise as I become more successful at the thing I love doing. So what do you do? Do you stop? And I do feel like a sense of mission and cause with what I do as well. So do I stop that, which feels in some degree a little bit selfish maybe, and just focus on like making my life very private? I can go to Bali and buy a big mansion and just chill. Yeah. Or do I carry on doing what I'm doing and realize that an unavoidable consequence of it is I have to log online every day, or I have to, you know, open my emails every day and just see so much noise. Yeah. Which is difficult because, as you say, I want to have a relationship. And I noticed specifically this weekend when I was like speaking to lawyers and doing all this stuff because of this article or whatever, that I hadn't spoken to my girlfriend. And I'm like, the thing that actually matters the most to me, the person that provides me with the most like stability and love, is the thing, as you said, the most important thing, you say it in your book, is the thing I'm rejecting for the sake of noise that doesn't, like, you know? Yeah, and I think that's where it almost goes against the grain again, doesn't it? Because we're kind of taught to believe somehow there's this undercurrent in our culture that you should strive for, you know, riches and fame and those things, because they'll somehow make everything good. And actually they make things harder as well. So, you know, while some people can really enjoy that and they'll really feel that that's where they want to be, there isn't this narrative where people say it's okay not to, because those people are being quiet and going off, you know, so, and doing their own thing. So we don't hear that narrative of it's okay not to be extraordinary, or it's okay not to stand out from the crowd, or it's okay to want a quiet life or a private life. And you know, I'm as much a victim of that as anyone else, because, you know, when I'm not wanting certain sort of public things, I question myself, you know, what am I doing? Is this right? And it's often, you know, about your own values, isn't it? And how you want to live. And I guess all the time that you're questioning that and reflecting on it,
making choices, none of them have to be permanent. There's this idea that, if I don't take the opportunity, it's all over. It's probably not.
Yeah.
So, you can kind of play around with it, can't you? You could probably have, 6 months off to go and hide away somewhere on an island, and you could come back and experience public life again, so that you could almost, work out what is it that I like and want about each one, and how can I create a balance for me. But yeah, we're just taught that we need to just strive for extraordinary and out of the crowd, and I think we have to question that.
Where are you at the moment on this topic in terms of deciding, how much attention and this audience you're building you want to build versus the privacy and the family and the things that are so clearly much more intrinsically aligned with your values?
I think I'm getting there to in the sense that I need to stick to the reason that I started in the first place. I think I have to keep that sense of integrity about, I started to be helpful. And the thing I loved doing, the thing I loved about writing the book was researching and learning about psychology and keeping up to date with the research. And that kind of stuff is the stuff I love to do. I love to learn about people and then to share that knowledge. And so I guess as long as I'm doing that and trying to sort of protect my children at the same time and live a normal life, then that'll be okay. But all of these things are a balance. I don't think there is a clear set answer to any of these things, are there? Like you've had that experience with the paper and that's made you kind of maybe step back a minute and think, wow, how much do I want this kind of thing? And it doesn't have to, make you do a 180, but it can make you just acknowledge and learn, I don't want to go too far in that direction. This is what I want. And I feel like it's that with me. You're constantly just edging from one sort of position to another.
And you've got to learn in them. You've got to learn from the experience, like on the job, right?
Yeah.
Because these are not lessons that I could have learned from someone just telling me.
Yeah.
And in fact, we've probably both grown up in a world where people have warned us about the things we're experiencing, and we didn't listen.
Exactly.
We didn't understand until we felt it, right?
And if you try and convince some 10-year-old kid, you probably don't want to be famous.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, right. Okay, whatever. So you have to learn these things, yeah.